Okay, so we'll
Thank y'all very
we'll
much.
call up the SCR, and we have members SCR16 from presented to you by Senator Hewitt, and I think you have friends that have come in from out of town for this, huh?
Yes, sir. We have quite a few families who have traveled here today to talk about this really important issue. SCR16 seeks to add testing for spinal muscular atrophy to the newborn testing panel. So when babies are born, there are a number of things that they're screened for. SMA is a disease that affects the motor nerve cells in the spinal cord. So it diminishes all physical strength. Basically, their muscles atrophy, and it makes it difficult for children to even stand to support their own body weight. So that, of course, can affect their ability to walk, to swallow, and in even severe cases, the ability to breathe. And so this is one of those diseases where early detection is critical. And those children, when they can get medication early on, it's life-changing for them. And so, this has already been approved by the federal government. There are 7 states that are doing testing, SMA testing already in newborns. And this is something that this resolution would urge and request the Department of Health to consider that going forward. So I have several folks here with me today that would like to share with you their personal experiences and the work that they have done, of course, in researching what's best for their children. And so I'd like to start, if I could, Mr. Chairman, with Brandon and Casie Callais.
Welcome. We're happy to have you here, and we want to hear your story. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Brandon Callais.
Could you pull the microphone a little closer? Yeah, thank you.
My name is Brandon Callais. My wife and I and our friends are here to speak with you today about spinal muscular atrophy, SMA, and the importance of early detection and treatment. We'd like to thank Senator Hewitt first for taking up our cause and introducing this resolution. SMA is a genetic neuromuscular disorder in which the body is missing a gene that produces a crucial protein. This protein helps the nerves that control the muscles survive. Without this protein, the nerves gradually die, leading to progressive muscle weakness. SMA is the most common condition in the rare disease classification, affecting approximately 1 in 10 to 11,000 births. It is also the #1 genetic killer of infants. SMA is a recessive condition, meaning that you can be a carrier and never show symptoms. Approximately 1 in 50 people are carriers, regardless of ethnicity. When 2 carriers have a child, there's a 25% chance that child will inherit SMA. Fortunately, unlike most rare diseases, SMA has a safe and effective treatment, along with many other drugs in clinical trial development. On December 23, 2016, the FDA approved Spinraza for the treatment of SMA. Spinraza essentially stimulates the body to produce the missing protein that I mentioned earlier, saving what nerves are left. Early detection of SMA and treatment is crucial to avoid the nerve and muscle wasting that occur the longer the disease goes untreated. The Federal Advisory Committee on Heritable Disorders in Newborns and Children recognized this, and SMA was added to the Federal Recommended Uniform Screening Panel shortly after the drug was approved by the FDA. I'd like to now let our families tell our stories. We look forward to working with you all on this legislation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Casie Callais. Thank you so much for letting us speak with you today about the critical importance of adding spinal muscular atrophy to the newborn screen here in Louisiana. My husband and I both have our doctorate degrees in physical therapy and practice in the Slidell area. We have 2 children, Camille, who is 5, and Jude, who is 2. Our daughter, Camille, was born on December 4th, 2013. Pregnancy was wonderful and without any complications, and we had 0 family history of any genetic diseases or abnormalities. Camille was born perfectly healthy. However, at 9 months of age, we started to notice that Camille was not meeting the milestones like other babies her age, and she began to collapse her legs when put into a standing position. At her 9-month checkup, her doctor assured me that she was probably just going through a phase and some babies are just lazier than others. By 10 months, Camille could no longer tolerate standing when placed in that position because of her legs buckling almost instantly. We took her back to her pediatrician, who agreed that because she was beginning to lose abilities, that we should seek this expertise of specialists. We were soon seen by an orthopedic physician who cleared Camille of any orthopedic issues. Our world was shattered when Camille was 11 months old and finally was seen by a neurologist. She took one look at her quivering hands and tongue and spoke no words words no parent ever wants to hear. I'm sorry, but I believe your daughter has spinal muscular atrophy. There's no treatment and no cure. There's nothing we can do. Although she was sure of the diagnosis, we still had to have one round of blood work and an MRI under anesthesia to rule out other neuromuscular disorders before we were able to gain approval for the genetic testing to be completed to confirm the diagnosis of SMA. On December 16, 2014, just after Camille's first birthday, our worst fears were confirmed. Camille was officially diagnosed with SMA type 2. And again, we were told, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. Through this diagnosis, we learned that Camille would not only have a shortened life expectancy, but that all of her muscles would rapidly atrophy, taking away the small abilities that she had one by one. Both Brandon and I, being in the medical field, we researched SMA day and night, looking for any possibilities and opportunities we could take to make Camille's life better. We wanted to give Camille every opportunity to thrive and have the highest quality life that she could possibly have. We started Camille with numerous therapies through early steps, transitioned her to a specialized diet, and modified our house so that she could navigate her environment. But unfortunately, due to the progressive nature of this disease, Camille's abilities continued to diminish. Soon our lives were filled with doctors and therapy appointments. Our home was filled with medical equipment, a cough assist to help Camille's weak cough, a BiPAP machine to keep Camille's lungs ventilating, a pulse ox so that we could always know Camille's heart rate and oxygen saturation when sick, a power and manual wheelchair so Camille could navigate her environment, a stander, gait trainer, walker, AFOs, treadmill harness system, all in attempts to help her gain strength and ability, a video monitor so that we can hear Camille at night when she needs to be repositioned or turned, a new vehicle so that we can accommodate Camille's wheelchairs. Camille needs 24/7 one-on-one care. She requires assistance to complete all of her daily needs, from brushing her hair and teeth to dressing and transferring. We provide all of her care with the exception of the time that she's at school. During the 2 years and 4 months from the time that Camille was diagnosed with SMA to the time we gained access to Spinraza, we saw a steady decline in her abilities due to her weakening muscles. She was hospitalized twice in 2 years, one hospitalization being a 6-night stay in the PICU for simple illnesses that typical children only require a day or two at home to recover from. Camille has been receiving this treatment, Spinraza, for 2 years now and has made incredible progress. She has not been hospitalized once, having been able to fight her typical childhood illnesses at home. Although she is still very dependent for her daily needs, instead of wondering what ability she will lose next or what muscle will weaken next, we have been able to watch our daughter make small gains in strength, adding up to be miraculous functional improvements. Early detection and treatment of SMA can eliminate this disease progression and save countless lives. Children treated pre-symptomatically are able to develop, typically meeting all milestones, and don't require extensive medical intervention to simply live. With SMA added to the newborn screen, parents will still be blindsided by the diagnosis. However, they will be able to begin treatment quickly and their children will thrive. There's a video that I'd like to play that is an example of a family who has 2 children with SMA. Their daughter, Lucy, who's the oldest one, was diagnosed at 16 months old and began receiving treatment at 2 years old through a clinical trial. Her younger brother, Lincoln, was diagnosed at birth. He began receiving Spinraza at 28 days old. He does not require any medical equipment or wheelchairs. He has met every milestone on time, and he's a typically developing toddler, and you would never guess he has SMA. Thank you. Do I play here?
Mr. Chairman, it's
Thank
a
you both for your
60-second
testimony.
video.
And thank you all both for your testimony, Miss Callais.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I just press play?
Thank you.
Can we show the video now?
Sure,
It's 60
yes,
seconds.
please.
Switch the
Just press
screens.
play. Oh, it was only like a
We have it.
second. That's okay. But are we good? Say pop.
There's one left.
Ellie. Lucy.
Oh.
Say pop. That's Lincoln,
That's Lincoln.
who was treated since birth.
Feel free to comment as we feel
Yeah,
free to
so
comment.
that's Lincoln. He was treated at birth. That's Lucy, who did not start treatment until age 2.
Lucy won the race. She gets to play for, she wins the KFC, both Papa,
And this is all after she's already started receiving treatment, but because she wasn't treated until after progression already started, and that's Lincoln again.
Your journey is remarkable, and on behalf of all of the committee, thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
you'll be in our prayers, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And your family.
Thank you all. Mr. Chairman, I think we have a few others, if the committee
Sure.
would allow them to speak, that would like to share their story
Sure.
briefly.
Health and Welfare always wants to hear what you have to say, and you've traveled far to be here. So, yes, whoever would like to come up next, we do have a few people that have said they'd like to. The only thing we would ask is that, you don't duplicate testimony, just from that standpoint.
Just allow them to come as they
Please, yes. And just introduce yourself and
Room for three other folks to come, whoever would like to come.
And y'all, as everybody's coming to the table, I want you just to know on behalf of the committee, you will have our full support. The next journey that Senator Hewitt will help with is to secure the funding to make sure this takes place. So we want you to know that we set policy, we don't set funding here. So we've all been here long enough that we can see everyone's temperament, and our temperament is we fully support what you have to say, and we fully endorse what you have to say. Please.
My name is Krista Scurria, and 2 of those kiddos in the back row are mine, Joshua and Anna Rose, and they have SMA type 2. So my husband and I are both carriers, no family history on either side, so we had no idea that this was coming. So they are both on Spinraza and doing well. I am the leader for Cure SMA in Louisiana, and we've had 3 babies diagnosed this year since January, and they are receiving treatment, 2 of them out of state, and they couldn't be here today. But their lives are going to be radically different than those that you saw in the video that got treatment later. From what I understand, the cost of the test is about 8 to 17 cents per baby. Every state uses a different panel. 8 cents to 17 cents per infant to add the test. So just life-changing, and I appreciate y'all letting us being here. There is a family here that lost their first daughter from SMA. They're actually in Senator Hewitt's office because Allori is a toddler and not happy right now. But Allori received treatment at birth, and she was the one running around throwing a temper tantrum, and she benefited from newborn screening.
And Senator Hewitt's office will never be the same.
Yes.
Thank you for your testimony.
My name is Bryan Burleson. Thank you all for listening to us tell our stories. Just to let you know, the proudest day of my life.
Take your time. Take your time.
The proudest day of my life was the day my daughter was born. Thing is, my wife and I had quite a different journey than most of the people here. We couldn't have children. So we did the fertility treatments, we did the miscarriages and all that stuff. We decided that adoption was the route that we wanted to take. Unfortunately, the first child that we adopted was a late-term miscarriage, and she was born still. We decided that wasn't the route for us. We were going to find our lives without children. God has a different plan for us. Our agency, against our wishes, called us again a couple months later and said, we'd like to put you up again. Of course, we said yes. A couple hours later, they called us back and said, congratulations, you're going to be parents. And you got 6 weeks. So we thought that was going to be stressful. If we only knew. On September 16th, 2017, our baby girl was born, Mackenzie Elizabeth. She was perfect. She's beautiful. She had a little wee cry. She was quiet. She wasn't like her cousins. They were loud. She was like a little kitten, So we just thought we were lucky, honestly. But then we started looking at the movement. We got her home and started playing with her, and she just wasn't moving. we'd change her diaper, and instead of when we let her legs go, they would just flop. She was like a floppy baby. We turn her on her belly, and she wouldn't attempt to move. So we went to the doctors, and there's like, every child's different. Your child's just, has to meet her milestones. So we brought her home, and we knew something wasn't right. At her 2-month well baby, we brought her in and sat the doctor down. It's like, something is wrong. We were sent to New Orleans. And if September 16th was the proudest day of my life, November 17th, 2017 was the scariest. That's the day that we got told my daughter has SMA. I asked the doctor what the prognosis was, and he says, well, every child, or most children diagnosed with this disease won't see her. She likely wouldn't see her second birthday. So that's a heck of a thing to hear as a parent. You don't ever want to hear that. So what do we do? It's like, so we went through the process. We got her on Spinraza, and she's a happy baby now. Now, granted, we still have our problems. We were just in the ICU day before yesterday. We were in the ICU in New Orleans, but I get why we didn't do screenings before. I understand that. Ignorance is bliss. The fact is that you don't really want to know, because you'll find out eventually. The reality is now is different. We have opportunities to help these babies now. So, if you get these kids before they're symptomatic, you get the little girl that's in the office over there. So if Mackenzie would have gotten this pre-symptomatic, who knows? I can't say what would have happened. I don't know. But, we got to give these babies the best possible chance that we can.
Is Mackenzie out of ICU?
She is out of the ICU. She's at home now.
Well, for y'all to come here today after being at ICU, that's a huge sacrifice, and we're honored to have you here.
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
My name's Brittany. My son's sitting on the back row, and my stepdaughter's at home sick with pneumonia. So I have a son, Trevor, who is 8, and my stepdaughter, who is 12. Both are affected by spinal muscular atrophy. Trevor was diagnosed at 10.5 months old, and Isabella was 6 months old. Due to the many illnesses, the effects of SMA, and over 20 PICU stays and 2 intubations, Isabella has lost her ability to swallow, eat, smile, and all movements of her body. Both children started the first ever treatment of SMA, Spinraza, June of 2017. Trevor has gained arm strength, and Isabella has gained stamina. However, this disease has already robbed Isabella of all the movements in her body except her fingertips and voice. It has robbed Trevor the ability to walk and even roll over in his bed. Isabella requires 24/7 care, and Trevor requires assistance for all basic needs. Have you ever seen the Steve Gleason documentary? Well, that's basically our life times 2. Although we never sleep a full night, as they both call to turn, on one call to be suctioned so she can take her next breath, it's a blessing to hear their voice, because there are many children with SMA who have never spoken or lost the ability to speak. And even worse, thousands have died from this disease. Spinraza is changing the face of SMA. Early diagnosis and implementation of the drugs are now available and completely changing the lives of children with SMA. It's our duty to help each other out on this journey called life. Why would we not want to give every child a chance to truly live their best life? Well, we can. Passing this resolution will help children for all we take for granted, not just the things we can see physically, but literally for their next breath. I ask for all the parents who will be faced with this diagnosis for their child, give them the blessing of an early diagnosis and a fighting chance at life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for making the trip, and thank you for your testimony. Is there anybody else that would like to testify?
Hello, thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Just state your name. Good afternoon. Please state your name.
Misti Turner. This is my daughter, Jordyn Turner. We're from Liberia also.
Nice to see you.
She is a feisty, energetic, beautiful, full of personality little 6-year-old. She is always the biggest smile and the biggest personality. I always say when we in the store, it's like her own personal parade. Jordyn began taking her first steps a few days after she turned 1. Between her first and second birthday, we noticed that she fell often, and my mother was her primary caregiver and noticed that she would fall and lose balance, and she had a very unique walk, kind of like a waddle. we really didn't think much of it until her 2-year wellness exam when they asked if she jumped. She had always meant every other,
That's okay.
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
Take your time.
She had always meant milestones and everything else, and then when we said she didn't jump, her face kind of solemn, but no immediate alarm, and asked a few more questions. She agreed to refer us to an orthopedic doctor in New Orleans. Telling the orthopedic doctor Jordyn's story was not meant with concern and understanding that we would expect, rather kind of blank stares, serious faces, and just kind of, well, she's a kid. I was going through the medical history when he asked her to walk for him. Upon watching her take her first steps, he says, "Oh, well, now she's just going to be silly." I quickly collected myself, politely told him, "No, sir, this is how she walks." And the rest of the appointment was a lot of showing different things, her walking, jumping her own way, doing everything her own way. Everything was sort of brushed off until he watched her get off of a stool and not really bend her knees the way she doesn't do a lot bending her knees. So he realized, okay, maybe we have something, referred us to a neurologist. The neurologist, within 5 minutes of watching her, saw her get off the ground. She has what's called a Gower sign, Gower''S. It's commonly associated with muscular dystrophy. And we knew we were headed in the right direction whenever she said, okay, maybe we have a muscle disorder. And that's when we knew, okay, something is not right. So we did a CK blood test and was referred to the MDA clinic. The CK blood test was normal, but we anxiously awaited what a different neurologist with the MDA clinic would say. She did more things with Jordyn, checked lack of reflexes, watched her get off the ground, run, jump, walk, all her own way. She made her push against the doctor, and sat in a chair and told us she thinks Jordyn has SMA. Then she proceeded to tell us the severity. And told us that if Jordyn had SMA, it would mean my husband and I were carriers. It's very devastating to know that, it's genes in both you and your husband that causes something in your child. Also learning that there's no way to know, no signs from either of us, no way to diagnose sooner, and limited things to do. Basically, keep her moving and keep her healthy. That's what we were told. She also told us that we would start going to a neuromuscular clinic every 6 months. We were taken to the lab to draw blood. After the emotions of hearing the SMA diagnosis, we have to hold her down for her first time ever doing blood work at 2.5. After the blood was drawn, we were told we would wait about 13 weeks for our results. We were very lucky and received results in about 2 weeks. The neurologist confirmed it was SMA type 3. But since those words have stuck in my head, keep her moving and keep her healthy. When the option for Spinraza came along, we were not sure if it was for us because she was so strong. We were told very quickly by Miss Krista up there that, yes, what are you doing? This is absolutely what she needs because she does not have an onset. She has not had an onset yet. She has not quit doing anything yet. So since then, from starting to bend her knees again to getting off the ground when she jumps, huge improvements in her core strength and balance, hardly ever falls. We never know what each day will bring. This is a direct result from early detection and being able to get treatments and therapies that we are able to help stop the progression of her disease.
You did a great job of testifying on behalf of your daughter.
Tell them, huh?
What's your daughter's name again?
Jordyn.
Why don't we give Jordyn a big round of applause, everybody? Thank you for being here, Jordyn.
Thank you. Look,
Dan,
you
did
want
you
to tell them thank you?
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Chabert, did you have some comments?
Yeah, thank you. I just want y'all to know every time we get folks like y'all that come up in front of us, quite often you may not realize that we're real people too. And we have to deal with a lot of the same struggles. My colleagues on this panel, some of them that have served with me for a number of years, particularly during the finance years when we have to go through public testimony and we have to fight for every scrap of disability funding that there is for situations like this and others. They've heard me tell the story about my nephew, Lil Lenny Chabert, who has, since day one, had a form of muscular dystrophy that many say he wouldn't see many years. And even though it's been a continuous struggle for him, he's 26 now. And he's, unfortunately, he's a crochet. And that means he doesn't take after the short Chaberts, he takes after the tall crochets, and he is a tall fella. And every person that lives with somebody special like that in their lives knows it's not just a struggle for the mom or the dad. It's also a struggle for the friends and the siblings and the uncles and the aunts in the community. And certainly it is for our state. And just know that we too feel you and the struggles that you've had, and that the struggles that you are going through, and unfortunately in many cases are struggles you're going to continue to go through. So you have friends up here, and many of them that walk the same walk that you do, and in some cases unfortunately crawl the same crawl you do. So I just thought I'd share that personal testimony with y'all.
Very well said. Thank you, Senator Chabert. Senator Claitor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sort of along the same lines, I know that you're coming up here and tackling tough testimony that's hard to get out, and that sometimes it seems as though we're distracted, and that we've got literally 1,000 bills that we're working on at one time, and we have thousands of constituents that we're trying to work with. And so if it doesn't seem as though every single person is honed in on your testimony, it's because we're being pulled in 1,000 different directions. But your testimony is important to us, and if we step out, we're listening to it in the back. And if it looks like we're fiddling with our phone, it's because we're getting an email saying, please consider this matter. And so there's no disrespect meant by any of that, and that we're just getting bombarded as we go along the way. And your testimony is very important. I wish it could be perfectly silent at every opportunity, but when you see us on the floor, it's even worse. So we've got a lot of things going on. So I appreciate that you've come from near and far to come here. We appreciate that your story is a difficult one. I do want to know just a little bit more, and perhaps Senator Hewitt can give it to us, as far as a lot of things make perfect sense financially when we hear that on top of your story, and that the human part we want to help with. One lady said, I think she said it cost about 8-9 cents on the testing, where if 8-9 cents will save us $750,000 on the back end and more, we'd like to know that, and that it makes sense morally, and as your friend, and it makes financial sense as well. We'd like to know that. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Claitor. Please tell us your story, and thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Crystal. I have had 2 kids with SMA. One has passed away. So my first time here in SMA was a horrible day. We were at the hospital where she passed at. From in and out the hospital for her time here, she passed away at 3 months and 28 days. So in and out the hospital, not knowing what was wrong with her, from taking home a healthy baby. Just doctors saying, oh, well, there's nothing we can't do that, you can't do at home, because, breathing treatments and stuff like that, because, they did the MRI, she's fine. She just wasn't moving. So, you like, something's wrong. So when a doctor finally walks in the room, and he's like, oh, no, something's wrong. You need to go to New Orleans, So it's kind of like, and then you get there and they say, she has SMA. And so I'm like, yay, you know what's wrong. Let's get it fixed. And then he's like, well, there's nothing we could do. She's gonna pass away. So it was hard, and we went through that, and then now I have this tough cookie that we actually found out because We screened her when she was born, since knowing that with our baby that passed away, we knew to test her for that. So then we found out about Spinraza, and there was a study, so she actually got it before the drug was approved. So she's not on any breathing support. She's not on any feeding. She's something else. She's spoiled. Yes.
You're the example that the screening works.
She is definitely. She's too spoiled. They say you can't be too spoiled, but she is too spoiled.
No, after what you've been through, you can't spoil them too much.
I don't know. I'm kind of like, I don't think she got a backbone. She throws herself back too much.
Well,
but yeah, she definitely she shows that she is definitely an example, and she has her angel watching her.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your courage to come up here. Thank you all for your courage and your time and your sacrifice and you being here. Senator Hewitt. This. Now, what's her name again?
Allori.
We ought to clap for Allori, don't y'all think? Thank you again. Senator Hewitt, I want to thank you for bringing this to everybody and the testimony. I think we all sometimes wonder what we do on health and welfare. I think today is the day that shows why we volunteer to be on this committee, and it shows why we all thankful to be here. We'll let you close, and I think you'll get a great vote, and I think the next stage is to find the financing piece. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I do want to thank all the parents that came. They came from all around the state. And I'm very appreciative that they helped me to understand the importance of this issue and were willing to share their personal stories. To touch on Senator Claitor's point and question, the families do believe that based on experience in other states, that the cost of adding, the incremental cost of adding this testing, we do test for 24 other things right now in the state of Louisiana in the newborn panel. Adding one, the incremental cost of doing that, we do believe is pennies on the dollar. And as you pointed out, Senator, the back-end cost of the additional medical cost, the cost of additional resources in the schools to support these children is huge. And so we believe that if you look at it from a cost-benefit analysis, it's a no-brainer. And so we've already begun the conversations with the department. They are listening. They're here today to hear the testimony. And we know that they're going to do their due diligence to look at the cost and see if we can make it work from a cost basis. We know from a compassion viewpoint that it's absolutely the right thing to do. And so I'm very encouraged. Everything has been very positive so far with the department. And I'm committed to working with them and following through on this in the coming year. So thank you very much, Chairman and committee members, for allowing us to speak today. I know you have a very busy schedule, and we really do appreciate your time.
Thank you again. We have a motion to move SCR16 favorable by our Vice Chairman Barrow. Is there any opposition? Seeing there's no opposition, SCR16 will be reported favorable. And thank you all again for being here. Thank you. Senator Fannin, and then we'll hear Senator Mizell. So we'll make sure we get everybody a chance. And we have cards of all in support.